Hello and welcome to my channel. Welcome to another tarot reading from me. So today's topic is going to be a monthly reading. I know that last month I have skipped this, so I'm back on track again, doing the May predictions for the month of May, 2026. I've been thinking on and off about whether I should continue making these monthly predictions because compared to my other topics, I think they're not as in demand, but there seems to be a group of people who consistently watch the monthly predictions, so eventually I decided I'm gonna keep it for now. But let me know in the comment section how much you like these readings, how much you would like to continue them, or maybe if you would prefer other types of predictions, like, I don't know, predictions for every 2 weeks or every even weekly maybe, although I don't think I could commit to that right now because my schedule is kind of crazy. Maybe if I do shorter readings, yeah. But anyway, let me know how much you like these prediction readings, or if you would like other types of prediction readings that are more general, not necessarily connected to relationships and such, because I know those are the most in demand on my channel. Anyway, so these are the crystals for those of you who would like to choose with just a crystal. As usual, I have chosen the crystals intuitively by meditating on the question of which crystals should I choose for this particular topic. And these are the ones that came out in this particular order. So pile number 1, you have this milky quartz crystal. Pile number 2, you have this iolite crystal. Pile number 3, you have this moonstone crystal. All right, so these are your options if you would like to choose with, like I said, just a crystal. If you would like to also choose with a card, I'm going to select those in the next phase, so you can check the timestamps to skip directly to the selection if you don't want to sit through it. Before I sign off, I want to remind you once again to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. And also, of course, if you feel free to watch if you feel drawn to watch more than one, feel free to watch several or even all of them and just take whichever messages resonate. And I would also appreciate it, of course, if you would click on the notifications bell to see when I will upload a new video. All right, I will see you at your reading. Okay, so this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. I got a bunch of cards over here, but I think I'm going to stick to the Oracle of Mystical Moments because this is appropriate. All right, Spirit, tell me about pile number, okay, that came out right away. Pile number 1, 12, all is connected. All right, Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What are their predictions for the month of May 2026? Can you hear me? All right, I have mentioned this in other videos. I don't know if you have picked this up, that I find it interesting how oftentimes I will select the cards and they happen to match the vibe and the color of the crystal. So I think these, for instance, they match really well. I mean, we have this dark blue, grayish blue, and I have the same color here. And here we have white and white. So let's see what the third one is going to be. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the, what was it called again? I forgot. The moon crystal, I think. What is the month of May 2026? Got a brain for them. Okay, so we have tiny triumphs. Again, I would say there is a connection here with the color as well, because you can see the same kind of blue. You see? Light blue, sort of. I don't know if the lighting is that good. Anyway, these are the cards. Let me zoom in. Okay, so this is for those of you who want to choose with a card as well as a crystal. Pile number 1, you have this card over here and or this milky quartz crystal. Pile number 2, you have this card over here and or this iolite crystal. All right. Pile number 3, you have this card over here and or this moonstone crystal. All right, so these are your options. Pile number 1, number 2, number 3. You can pause the video if you need more time to decide. As usual, my recommendation is that you take some moments to clear your mind, meditate upon the question with your eyes closed. Take some deep breaths, exhale longer than you inhale. That will help center you and calm you down. My recommendation is that you take a deep breath for 7 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 8 seconds. This is also good to calm yourself down when you have anxiety. I actually picked it up for the first time from Huberman's channel a long time ago, before he turned out to be an a-hole. Anyway, not digressing. The bottom line is you can do whatever breathing exercises you want, whatever meditation works for you, but my recommendation is that you take some moments to clear your mind, take some deep breaths, focus on the question at hand, or you can also ask more specific questions like, what advice can you give me about, I don't know, my finances, let's say, for the month of May 2026. Although I do recommend you stay on topic and of course stick to things that can be answered through a monthly prediction, but you can also tweak it a little bit to personalize the question. Okay, and if you feel drawn to more than one pile, feel free to watch 2 or even all 3 of them and just take whichever messages resonate. Before I sign off, I will remind you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and also consider clicking on the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I post a new reading. I will see you at your pile. So, welcome pile number 1. This is the reading you have selected if you have chosen this card over here. All is connected. Number 12 on it, and or this milky quartz crystal. So I'm going to be selecting some more cards. If you don't want to sit through it, you can skip directly to the interpretation. I'm going to add timestamps so that you don't have to sit through the whole selection phase. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the milky quartz. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring for them? Ooh. Okay, I'm going to shut up. Okay, so we have 2 of Cups, Ace of Swords, Knight of Wands, the Fool, Knight of Pentacles, the Moon. Let's see. I'm gonna get the Rider-Waite Deck. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring into their lives? Ooh, we have Ace of Swords twice, I think. 2 of these came out at once. Wow, 10 of Swords and Justice. Wow, we have Ace of Swords twice, one underneath the other. That's a very strong message then. Okay. So we have 9 of Swords, Ace of Swords, the Sun, Temperance, and the 9 of Pentacles coming out underneath the Fool. And Knight of Pentacles, 10 of Swords. Okay, 10 of Swords and the Justice. All right, so let me get some oracle cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1, the people who chose the milky quartz. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? Sanctuary. That makes sense with the moon coming out. Also the 2 of Cups in the beginning. Okay, what will the month of May 2026 bring for pile number 1? Heron, patience, create a place in nature's stillness and be renewed. Take time alone to find balance. Step confidently toward your purpose. Patience will bring you rewards. So there's kind of a repeated theme here between Sanctuary and this Heron card. Let me get another one. Oh, yeah, let me get one of this. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? Tell me. Companionship. Okay, that makes sense with the 2 of Cups in current. When you fully bless and embrace your aloneness, you're ready for the ones who are meant to be with you. May I welcome this solitude, knowing it will open the way for all healthy relationships. There are already very strong repeating themes here. And let me also read the description for this card from the booklet. All right, so number 12. All is connected. Innovation, transformation, growth, release. A girl sits on a tree trunk and holds leaves in her hands while others blow away in the wind. A small spider holds a few leaves together with his fine filament, even though the wind threatens to tear them apart. Don't be afraid of changes. Release your fear by letting go. Change is hard and often painful, but it is the only way to grow. You may drift, but you will never lose yourself. Life goes on and nothing ends. It is reshaped into something new by the wind. Not better or worse, but different, and in that change lies wonder and openings. Okay. Okay, repeated themes already. Can I just say this? Already, the number one, so like your whole theme here, let me start with what I could say. So the spider is around here, kind of holding on for dear life about the wind. Okay, the winds of change. I'm getting that song, The Winds of Change, in my head by, what band was that? The Scorpions, I think. Interesting, scorpions and spiders, kind of the same giant category of animals. Anyway, all is connected. And I was going to say you have the number 12 on this. So that's a 1 and a 2. It's interesting because it starts out with the 2 of Cups and the 9 of Swords. And you have all of these other cards that speak of the same theme of like the balance between relationships and solitude. So I'm going to take a wild guess over here and say that you are either someone who is feeling, or like at the moment when you come across this reading, you've been feeling really lonely lately and really wishing for a connection. This could be also connection specifically focused on romance, but it could also be like in general, like maybe you just want to connect more, you want more people around you. But I also think that there could be a bunch of people here who have recently gone through a breakup, you know, or you are sensing that you're about to have to separate from someone. Like maybe you've been in a relationship and it hasn't been going well. Because there's the 2 of Cups and there's the 9 of Swords there. So this shows me that there's some kind of anxiety about relationships, about companionship in general. And it also shows me that you, at this moment, you're very focused on wanting to connect with other people. And you also have, like, all of these oracle cards basically speak of the difference between, or should I say the balance, right, between being yourself and focusing on yourself and then looking for companionship. So we have Sanctuary here, which, and again, you also have the number 2 connects to the moon in numerology because it's ruled by the moon. And you also have, like, number 1 is ruled by the sun. So again, like I said, within the number 12 already, there's this message of needing to balance self-interest with relationships, because the number 1 is about self-interest and being yourself, right? Pursuing your own purpose. And number 2 is about companionship. It's about relationships. It's about feelings, right? Connection. And then we also have the moon. And the moon is also connected to the home base. So I feel like the Sanctuary here, together with these other messages, because look at this. It says, create a place in nature's stillness and be renewed. Take time alone to find balance, right? So balance, that's a strong word. And you also have the Temperance here, which shows the past, right? So I'm going to get to that. But yeah, there's a theme of balance, of you needing to balance your need for companionship with the need to be yourself and to be authentic. Step confidently toward your purpose. Patience will bring you rewards. And then you have a similar message here. When you fully bless and embrace your aloneness, you're ready for the one who is meant to be with you. May I welcome this solitude, knowing it will open the way for all healthy relationships. So I really think the main message that everyone here needs to hear is that it's very important for you to be yourself and to focus on what makes you first and foremost happy. I know that sounds kind of a cliche, but I really think that Spirit wants you to hear this, you know, because it's coming out repeatedly. And then you also have the Ace of Swords coming out twice here in the second position. That's a strong message as well, so I'm going to get to that. But the bottom line is that I think most of you here in this pile, you're probably the kind of person that feels like you need to change yourself in order, or maybe you have been wondering about that. Maybe you haven't actually taken action in that sense, but maybe because you're frustrated with your relationships in general, you have gotten to a point where you're thinking, should I try to be someone else? Or like, should I try to be different? Maybe you have considered changing your style, right? Or changing your appearance in some significant way because you've been thinking maybe that's going to attract the right partner. Or behaving in a certain way that is basically inauthentic, that it doesn't really match who you really are, maybe doesn't even match your principles, right? And so the message here is you need to be patient and you need to keep focusing on the things you can control and that make you happy, that take you personally, right, on a spiritual level, bring you fulfillment and happiness, and trust that as you are walking down that path of authenticity, you will come across the right people who are actually going to like you for who you are. So that is the first message. And then the Ace of Swords in the second position, this is what's going to support you, right, throughout the month of May. And the Ace of Swords, of course, is intellectual activity. So that means that your intellect, your capacity to come up with ideas, is going to carry you through the month of May. So this is going to be the source of your nourishment, of your vitality. Your, not just your capacity to come up with ideas, but also your talent for originality, right? Your capacity to be firm in your thoughts, basically. So this is kind of Aquarian / Rahu energy, in the sense that this is because Aquarius in astrology is fixed thought, right? So it's about fixed ideas. This is why Aquarius sometimes can also be connected to obsessions, you know? And so I think, I just got this random thought, so I don't know, maybe it's true for some people, but maybe some of you are neurodivergent. That would make sense, especially with the cards that came through, because neurodivergent people generally will have a harder time, you know, having close relationships because they're, first of all, because they're in a minority in the world, and also because they just behave in a way that is different, you know, than the regular population. So that would make sense with struggling to find connection, right? And if you are, of course, the obsession thing would make even more sense, right? So just focus on your ideas, your hobbies, your interests, be yourself, and the right people will come along, right? And then we have the Knight of Wands and we have the Sun. So what could be actually acting against you in the month of May could be the fact that you are sometimes a little bit too prideful. And I know this maybe sounds like a bit of a contradiction, because the Sun on the one hand is part of what you should be cultivating. So the Sun energy is, like I said, so it rules the number 1 in numerology, and you have this card with number 12. So the Sun is about authenticity, right? And on the one hand, you are encouraged to be authentic, but you should also watch for the potential pitfalls of becoming too self-centered, too egomaniacal, to the point where you think that your interests and your fulfillment are better than everyone else's, right? Or more important than everyone else's. And so this is also why I think you have the repeated message of needing to find balance, because maybe some of you are very much going from one extreme to another. Like either you're very focused on having a relationship and making the relationship work and making other people happy, or you're all entangled in your own interests, your own obsessions, whatever, and then you forget the rest of the world and maybe even end up walking over others without realizing it because you're so focused on your own interests. And the Knight of Wands is actually, again, connected to fire energy, right? So fire and sun energy. So I think both of these are connected to fire, really. And here we have actually the number 12 again, the Knight of Wands. You know, So this is kind of telling me that, yeah, what might be kind of acting against you is the fact that you could be a little bit too impetuous, too, what's the word, right? To put your, um, I'm gonna stay away from expressions because I tend to mess them up. But to kind of be blunt, like to be too impulsive, maybe to say the right thing, the wrong thing, at the wrong time and offend people without realizing, right? So you need to watch out for that kind of behavior. You need to also practice more sensitivity, right, towards others. And we have the Fool here, clarified my Temperance and the Nine of Pentacles. So this shows your evolution up until this point in life. So this shows me that many of you here have been focusing very much on making it financially, I think. So financially and materially. So you are someone who maybe has been working on being self-sufficient for a long time because of that Nine of Pentacles energy. And this could even be a business, so Nine of Pentacles can also speak of just having a vision and pursuing it. And the Temperance is about balance again. So not just balance, but it's also connected to, again, Aquarius energy. Not just because we have this symbolism of the water bearer, but also because the Temperance is about original ideas, right? It's about blending things that are not normally going together, but somehow finding a bridge between seemingly contradictory concepts, for instance, or, seemingly contradictory directions. So I think that, and also with the Fool, this is giving me a very original energy here, someone who's very individualistic. So I feel like you have been very much focused on pursuing your own vision, your own path. I'm really getting this sense, and again, I could be going off on a limb here, but I'm really getting the sense of you could have been the kind of person that has spent a long time focusing on getting, let's say, the career you wanted, the money you wanted, and at some point along the line, you kind of looked around and realized that you felt very isolated, maybe because your energy was entirely directed on chasing wealth or chasing whatever material things, right, or success or whatever it was that you wanted for yourself, right? And that's also maybe why in recent history you maybe have thought that, oh, I'm on the wrong path. Maybe I should try to change, to tweak my goals, right? So that they would match a potential partner. But Spirit is telling you that that's not really in your best interest, that you need to pursue your authentic self, your authentic interest, but at the same time, sort of mind your behavior at the same time, right? In the sense of you don't want to alienate people that may have actually been by your side, but maybe you push them away with your behavior, with being too coarse, with being too rude, etc., right? Then we have the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords. I have to say this is not looking great, so let me get clarifications. Please clarify the Ten of Swords here. Ten of Wands. Oh, wow. Yeah. So this is really showing me that in the future, now again, this could be by the end of this month, this could be at some point in the future. Also, I'm going to clarify, please clarify the Knight of Pentacles. I mean, I kind of have an idea what it means, but I want to know. Seven of Wands, okay. Please clarify the Moon. The Magician. Please clarify the Justice. The Fool again. Okay, so here, this is telling me that in the future, you are slowly, so this is like, I would say this is like the immediate future. That's usually what the fifth position shows, right? So what it's like the immediate future on the one hand, and it's also advice on the other hand. So I would say that this is Spirit telling you that you can expect, and again, we have the number 12 here. Number 12 is coming through a lot. And so you can expect that things will get better in the future, but it's a slow process, okay? The Knight of Pentacles speaks for the need to take things step by step, right? To plan every little step along the way. Don't expect huge breakthroughs, right? Or windfalls. Basically, it's an energy of you can reap what you sow, right? So the more effort you put, the more consistent you are, the higher the chances that you're going to get the results that you want. And the Knight of Pentacles also speaks of, again, stability, right? So it's earth energy. It's about building something solid that's going to stand the test of time. And so I feel like Spirit is telling you this could be unrelated to the rest of the cards, really. So because the Pentacles energy is more career oriented here. So I think this is with respect to those things you have been chasing with the Nine of Pentacles here in the past. Spirit is telling you that it's going to be a slow process, right? So you're building something that is monumental, that is going to last a long time. Think about, I don't know, the Colosseum or something, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. I hate to keep using the cliche, but there it is. So Spirit is telling you that whatever you have your sights on is a long-term project that's going to take up a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, and you should stop expecting to see overnight results, right? So you have to really learn to be patient. Again, the repeated patience thing. And this, the 10 of Swords with the 10 of Wands underneath, is both an advice, I would say, and a warning. Because I think that Spirit is telling you that you can expect that things are going to be slow because, in part, also because you tend to be defensive. Okay, so number one, with the 7 of Wands, you tend to be defensive. And then with the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords, you are the kind of person that really feels like you have to do everything by yourself. So chances are that you are not going to open up and ask for help. And I say this, obviously, this is from a personal perspective, not from Spirit, but some people just don't have help to ask for, okay? So I don't mean this as a criticism, because sometimes it is what it is, right? But even if that is your situation, let's say where you really don't have people to rely on, you can, at the very least, be kinder to yourself, be more realistic, right? So don't expect to do everything overnight, because it's just going to lead to frustration, disappointment, putting way too much pressure on yourself. And in the long run, again, it's not going to actually build that solid thing that you want to build, your career, your finances, whatever it is that you want to achieve in a material sense, right? So yeah, this is the message. And then the outcome is looking very positive, because we have the Magician. So we have the Moon, first of all, clarified by the Magician, which again has the number 1 on it. So here's the Sun. Now, the Magician is definitely confirming everything that I said up until this point, because you are definitely someone who has a vision. Okay, so the Magician is someone who is the master of their own destiny, someone who has something, a plan, a vision that they want to pursue. And it's clarified, but here's the thing, you have the Moon clarified by the Magician. So you are definitely someone who is nurturing some great vision right now with the Moon, okay? So the outcome overall of the month of May is that, number one, you will be gaining more insights, right, with respect to steps you need to take to make your vision into reality. And then you're also going to have, what I'm seeing here is that your imagination, your subconscious, is going to be very fertile, not just throughout the month of May, but especially by the end of the month of May. So like and again, this could be more specific. Take it how it resonates because again, it's a general reading. So for some people, maybe some people here are advanced already when it comes to spiritual practices, like maybe you are someone who uses self-hypnosis on a regular basis. So that would definitely make a lot of sense, because this is kind of the vibe that I'm getting here. It's like by the end of the month of May, you will have somehow bridged the gap between your vision and your subconscious, or shortened it, if not completely bridged it, in the sense that you will feel like you can use your subconscious. First of all, there's a lot of fertility in ideas, right? So you're going to be getting a lot more ideas with respect to, like I said, how you can get closer to that vision that you have and to happiness overall. But I also feel like there will be an element of control here. So like you will be able to control your mind better, your mind at will, your mind and your emotions. And most importantly, the subconscious, because the moon is about the subconscious. I also think that with the justice clarified by the Fool, and here we have the Fool here, there is a strong possibility that by the end of the month of May, or like give or take, right? By the end of the month of May, or maybe shortly after, you're going to have an opportunity to sign a contract. And I really feel, considering the rest of this spread, that this is going to be something connected to career, right? More significantly, this is going to be like a result of all of your past efforts. Somehow, something you have done, maybe even unknowingly, in pretty much up until this point, right? So not just a recent past, but it could have been a long thing. A long process that led you to this moment. So because of some effort you have been putting in, there will be some door opening for you, some kind of opportunity, a new beginning, basically, a new contract. Now, again, obviously for some people, this could be a new job, okay? For other people, I don't know, depending on your situation, could be a new contract. Maybe you have a business, so you're going to have a new contract by the end of the month. Right, so some kind of legal thing is going to happen by the end of the month, right? Let me clarify, actually, please clarify the Fool, because I want to see maybe if I can get more details. Queen of Cups. Yeah, so this is going to be coming through due to your insights. So it's very much connected to the moon. Something, I think for some of you, this is going to be, I mean, it's also coming from the outside. It's going to be some kind of opportunity, but it's going to be some kind of meeting between an outside opportunity and something that you spot, you know, because of your creativity, because of some connection that you make. Maybe this could be something that would not normally be easy to get for someone in your position or someone of your training, but because of some creative way that you think about approaching it, you are gonna get this contract, right? This is pretty much the best that I can come up with. So somehow your intuition is going to lead to you taking the initiative in moving towards this contract, and you're gonna get it as a result of that. All right? But bear in mind, of course, that you still have to take action, right? So I'm not saying that things are going to fall on your lap. If you put in the effort, of course, this is the result. This is the best case scenario by the end of the month, all right? Or like I said, could be a little bit further, but it is as a result of everything that's happening in the month of May. All right, let me get the Astro-Cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring for them? Oh yeah, so oh yes, very strong confirmations of what I said. Capricorn, the boss. Sagittarius, the world explorer. Pisces, the dreamer. 10th house, career and success. And 6th house, work and routine. So this is all very career oriented and or purpose oriented, right? So it's not just about career here. This is about, so it's not just about, making money, right? So it's about working towards a strong foundation for a serious career. You're definitely going to see some significant progress when it comes to your career, all right? And here's the thing. When I say significant progress, I'm not necessarily talking about accolades, right? Or recognition. I'm talking about, for instance, you could learn a lot of valuable things in the month of May, right? That are going to be very important for the development of your business, for your professional development in general. And with the 6th house, work and routine, and 10th house showing up, this is showing that you're going to be very much focused on working, and you're also going to work on your routine. So your daily routine is going to naturally be on your mind. You're going to be thinking about how to maximize, let's say, productivity. But again, bear in mind that warning that you also have to be realistic. You have to pace yourself. And let's not forget that with the Pentacles coming through, and also with Capricorn, also with 10th house, again, 10th house, 6th house, this is a lot of earth energy. And earth energy is about working with your nature as opposed to against it, right? It's about biology, it's about the natural world, it's about the material reality that we live in. So this is Spirit reminding you that you have physical limitations. So don't push yourself too hard. Remember to take breaks. Remember to take plenty of rest so that you don't end up in that 10 of Swords, because that 10 of Swords, again, didn't want to say it because I don't want to fearmonger here, but 10 of Swords, worst case scenario, looks like burnout. So I feel that because it came through there in the action, Spirit is kind of warning you that you cannot keep up an unreasonable amount of effort for prolonged periods of time because you need to rest. You're not a robot, right? Maybe some of you are. I'm sorry if I offended anyone who's AI. I'm kidding. And so Pisces, the dreamer, that's again a very strong confirmation about of the moon energy that I was picking up. So like I was saying, you know, this bridge between the subconscious and the conscious mind is going to narrow down, and you're going to feel more in control. Like you're going to maybe, again, depending on your, like I said, like your level of development, maybe some people have already worked on things like self-hypnosis and lucid dreaming, you know, all these things, and have to deal with basically ordering your subconscious, right? Controlling your subconscious. And depending on your level of development, you could end up, again, having more access to your subconscious mind, having access to memories, maybe your memory in and of itself can improve by the end of the month of May, right? But I feel like for most of you, this is naturally going to be something that you will gravitate towards, right? So you're going to find yourself really thinking more about how to improve your memory, how to connect to your subconscious, etc., etc. Sagittarius also can speak of opportunities to travel, especially in the outdoors, right? So Pisces and Sagittarius, both of them are kind of connected to travel. Pisces is more about emotional travel or psychic travel, but it's also connected to the sea and bodies of water, right? So you could also maybe travel, for some of you, close to the sea maybe, or close to a body of water. Sagittarius, again, is also very outdoorsy, right? So there's about, it's connected to a thirst for adventure. So traveling could be a thing in the month of May, especially in natural settings, I would say. And Sagittarius is also, again, about exploring horizons, right? So new horizons, learning new things, having a sense of adventure, going outside of your comfort zone. So these things are all going to be opportunities basically for you in the month of May. Sixth house can also be about pets, by the way. So some of you might actually consider having a pet, or you might spend more time with your pet if you have one. Okay, let me get Astro dice as well. Spirit, tell me about pile number 1. What is the month of May going to bring for them? Ooh, here we have the moon, such a strong confirmation, and we have Leo, strong confirmation of what I was talking about in the beginning, and the number 3 again. I think I should have said this. So like I said, you do have the number 12 coming out a lot, and you have this number 12 here. So number 12, even though, yes, it is a 1 and a 2, which is also sun and moon, which came through as well. Leo is ruled by the sun. But it also boils down to a number 3. It's 1 plus 2, it's 3. So in numerology, that's Jupiter energy. And we have repeated Jupiter energy. Number 3, Sagittarius. So Jupiter energy definitely speaks about a lot of opportunities coming into your life. And it also speaks about, again, that desire to expand your knowledge, your horizons, your view of the world, right? So I think for many of you, there will be a lot of opportunities coming up for you in the month of May. So all you have to do is be rested enough and balanced enough to take advantage of what's coming for you. But yeah, overall, it's pretty positive for the month of May, pile number 1. And this is pretty much what I have seen. Oh, one more thing that I wanted to mention now that I look at the Magician. The number 3, I mean, Jupiter in astrology is wisdom. Okay? So it's wisdom, it's faith. I think this is also tying into that Heron patience, right? So it's about spirit telling you to keep the faith, maintain your faith in a higher power, maintain the faith that you are heading towards the fulfillment of your wishes and your vision. And because of that connection between Jupiter and Magician, by the way, Jupiter is also the natural ruler of Purva Bhadrapada, which connects to magic, by the way, dark magic to be specific. And we have the Magician here, right? So I feel like in a way, again, it's a confirmation because it really makes me think that for a lot of you, you're going to be learning very important things in the month of May. Things that are gonna come forward, right? Maybe travels, maybe studies. And again, for some of you, Jupiter is also about academia, publishing, writing. By the way, taking up writing, journaling, that could definitely be a good piece of advice for you, especially with the moon coming through, right? To understand your subconscious better. But this can also just be about you acquiring more information that's going to put you closer to that Magician position, right? So making informed decisions and getting closer, like I said, to your ultimate vision in life for what it is that you want your life to be. Okay, this has been pretty much it. Now I'm done. And yeah, if you have liked this pile number 1, I'm very curious to hear the comments in the comment section. Again, feel free to share any feedback as long as it's respectful. I definitely think, as usual, there were very strong repeated messages, and I hope you make the most of them. And aside from that, if you would care to support my channel further, of course, don't forget to subscribe, click on the notifications bell, click on the join button if you want to see, well, more information about the membership section and prices in your local currency. If you would like to also support my channel further, you can do so by leaving a small donation with the tips button. Any amount is much appreciated. And of course, sharing this video with people that you know might be interested in tarot. Aside from all that, I do astrology. Yes, I do astrology readings as well, but more about that later. I do tarot readings, so if you're curious to get a private tarot reading, check out the video description. You can email me at the email address that I left there. I mention this all the time. I don't spam people, so you don't have to worry that if you drop me an email that you will get newsletters or anything like that. I do not save your emails or anything. So if you're curious to find out more details, just drop me an email and I will give you the information you asked for. Aside from that, last but not least, I do have an astrology channel. It actually just turned 10 years old last month. It's called Martine. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology there, but also with some tropical insights. I have more than 10 years of experience reading astrology through a Vedic perspective, and before that, probably more than 10 years of reading tropical astrology. And I've also dabbled in a lot of other astrological systems over the years, like Batsa, Ziwe Doshu, the Mayan zodiac, and numerology, which I often use in my tarot readings as well. So if you're curious, though, I focus mainly on Vedic astrology because I found that to be the most accurate, but I use a lot of insights that I got from other systems as well. And I like to take a pretty practical approach in the sense that I use a lot of my own research. I like to show a lot of examples of famous people's horoscopes, for instance, to basically exemplify what I'm talking about when it comes to astrological configurations and how astrology plays out in the lives of people. So if you're curious, again, check out my astrology channel. I will be linking it in the video description, or you can just look for it. It's called Martine in one word. And you can subscribe to that channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading. Bye! Welcome, pile number 2. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here, number 28, Can You Hear Me? And or this iolite crystal. So this is going to be the card selection phase. I'm going to add timestamps if you want to skip directly to the interpretation because I will be taking my time. Okay, let me start with the tarot cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? All right. So we have the 9 of Pentacles, Queen of Wands, 10 of Cups, Page of Cups, 7 of Wands, High Priestess. All right. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? Ooh. We have 8 of Pentacles, we have Knight of Pentacles, 9 of Swords, 6 of Cups, Knight of Cups, the Star. All right, let me get some Oracle cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? Trust. All right. Kind of gives me the same vibe as the Star because there's that sun over there. All right. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? Cougar, assertive. In silence, you find power. Claim your leadership role and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and the confidence to succeed. Okay. Let me get another one. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What will the month of May 2026 bring into their lives? I said pile number 3, I think. Oh my gosh! This one came out for pile number 1. So if you felt drawn to pile number 1, maybe check it out, but only if you felt drawn to it. When you fully bless and embrace your aloneness, you're ready for the ones who are meant to be with you. May I welcome this solitude, knowing it will open the way for all healthy relationships. For all healthy relationships. Okay. And now let me read the description for this card over here, number 28. Can you hear me? Loneliness, cry for help, communication. Wow. Okay. Repeated theme. A woman floats in a seashell on the big sea. She looks to the horizon as if she is waiting for somebody. She is holding a trumpet in her hand, ready to blow it when the time comes. The ocean symbolizes her feelings. Vast and seemingly unknowable, it surrounds her in an endless arc. She looks lonely and deserted, but she has a way of connecting, a tool for turning passive silence into supportive communication. She just needs to raise her trumpet and call for help. Wow, all right. This is interesting. Call for help, trust, cougar, assertive, companionship. So we have trust here. Also with the deer, I wonder if some of you have placements in Anuradha or Jyeshta Nakshatra or both. But anyway, I'm not going to get into nakshatras. There is a message here that you are someone who has people around you that would be able to help you, but you're, for some reason, either don't see them, right? So for some reason, you're not seeing them as a viable option for help, or you don't want to for some reason, right? You don't, because again, the trust thing. So again, I'm not going to psychoanalyze anyone. I'm just reading the cards, but I'm just saying some of you here, and I'm not trying to say that if you have trust issues, that they're not justified. Because some people go through horribly traumatic things, horrible betrayals of trust. So not being able to trust someone is sometimes a rational, side effect. It's a knee-jerk reaction to things that you have gone through, and it's perfectly understandable. But there's definitely a message here from Spirit that you, in your case, you really might be missing out by not asking for help, because there are people who want to help you, who would be willing and able to help you, but you're terrified to ask for help, basically. So that's like a general message that I'm getting right off the bat. The number 28 here is, so we have number 2 and number 8. I really think many of you here might be Scorpios. I'm just getting a vibe, but let me see what it comes through. Maybe Moon in Scorpio, that would make a lot of sense, or Moon in the 8th house, because number 2 is connected to the Moon. Well, it can be connected to the 2nd house as well, but I just get a vibe, all right? See if it resonates. Please comment in the comment section if it does. But there's this vibe here that for you, the month of May in particular, is going to be about balancing your desire for companionship, your desire for connection emotionally, with your career, with your professional focus. Because look at this, 9 of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, all right? You are hard at work, pile number 2. This is your energy at the moment when you come across this reading. So you're very much focused on making the money, you know, focusing on your craft. Maybe you are, for some of you, you could be studying. For some of you, you could be hard at work. But this is about learning some specific skills that you need to create abundance because of that 9 of Pentacles and that 8 of Pentacles. And I can see that whatever it is you're working on, this is something that's really challenging, probably taking up a huge amount of your time. And I'm guessing this is where this contradictory energy comes from. The fact that you would like to spend more time with people, but you feel really compelled to focus on your career. Or maybe sometimes, of course, because this is a general reading, for some people it could be that you're forced to focus on your career, like you really need to make the money that you're making because you have to pay your mortgage, right? So this is a vibe that I'm getting right off the bat, especially when it comes to how you feel at the moment you come across this reading. Then we have the Queen of Wands, we have the Knight of Pentacles. I want to clarify, please clarify the Queen of Wands. I do have an idea about what it... Strength, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Some of you might also, not just Scorpio, but some of you might also have a High Priestess. Oh my gosh. High Priestess and in number 11 in particular is coming through. Aquarius is coming through. Some of you might have the number 11 prominently placed in your numerological profile. Maybe you're born on the 11th or a day that boils down to a number 11. You could be an 11 life path, soul urge, personality, but especially a soul urge or a destiny number or a life path number, right? So these are pretty challenging because on the one hand, they're meant to reach high levels of spiritual development, but on the other hand, in order to reach that high level of spiritual development, they tend to go through a lot of suffering in life. Maybe some of you also have Sastabisha Nakshatra placements. That would make sense, because that's also about learning through suffering. Anyway, let me not digress too much. The bottom line is, what is going to support you throughout the month of May to reach your destination, your lesson that you are meant to reach here, is your strength, your resilience, all right? Your resilience and your capacity to take decisive action, to be an initiator. There could also be like a strong Sun and or Leo energy with you as well. And the Knight of Pentacles, this definitely speaks of needing to keep it slow and steady, right? So keep putting effort towards the things that you are working on at a steady pace as much as possible. So don't go overboard. Don't go from one extreme to another. Just put in consistent effort a little bit every day and trust the process. The 10 of Cups and the 9 of Swords here. I mean, it's already kind of self-explanatory, but I want to get some more confirmations. Please clarify the 10 of Cups, Spirit. 7 of Wands, yeah. Please clarify the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords. The High Priestess again. Wow. This is, I'm getting that saying, Lord, give me strength. I really think a lot of you, I was going to say you've been going through, but it's not necessarily the case. I'm going to stick to exactly what the cards say. Relationship drama. I'm seeing relationship and more specifically family drama. All right. So the 10 of Cups is a card that speaks of family first and foremost. So this could be family of origin. This could be the family you have with your partner, your romantic partner. But 10 of Cups, clarified by 9 of Swords, this shows that there's going to be some relationship, some family drama going on that might be getting in the way of your development on the one hand in the month of May, or also your progress, your ability to focus on your career. So again, take this how it resonates, because this is a general reading. For some people, this could be about repeated childhood trauma, CPTSD, issues that are coming back from the past to haunt you emotionally. They hijack you, your attention, your capacity to focus on the present. For some people, this could be about literally living under the same roof with family that pisses you off, dealing with difficult family members. And the 7 of Wands here, now I'm going to get to potential advice from Spirit later, but this is what I'm seeing so far, that these are things that could be getting in your way. And clarified by the High Priestess, again, I could be going off on a limb here, but I think many of you are very self-aware. Like, I think those of you from this pile, you're pretty developed when it comes to spirituality. So I think a lot of your pain, a lot of your frustration will come from this feeling of knowing and seeing, all of the dysfunctions in the relationships around you, the relationships between you and your family, and maybe between family members, but at the same time feeling this helplessness about changing anything. You're just sitting there witnessing patterns repeat themselves, and you feel very frustrated, very powerless. And the 7 of Wands is also this, again, defensiveness. You feel like you need to defend yourself when you are around, maybe, again, could be one particular family member, could be multiple, could be an entire family that is toxic, right? So this is what I'm seeing. See how it resonates? I'm curious to hear in the comment section. And then we have a 6 of Cups here, Page of Cups, and the 6 of Cups in the past. So this is showing me that in the past, I'm getting this pretty innocent energy here. Like, you were someone who was very much doe-eyed, no pun intended, but very much doe-eyed, idealistic, wanted to believe in the goodness of mankind, It reminds me of this cartoon that I saw in the 90s, but never mind. Maybe just briefly, for those of you who maybe remember it, because, I don't know how many people were watching cartoons back in the 90s that are watching this video, but there were these series on Cartoon Network called What a Cartoon, and there was this one cartoon with an earthworm who kept getting squashed by a guy who was walking outside of his house going to work, and the whole episode is about how this worm, plots revenge against humans. Oh my god, now that I think about it, that cartoon was really dark, but anyway. This is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, like you were, that kind of that earthworm that was, because it starts out with him being very hopeful, goes outside, is full of light and love for the world, and then some guy steps on his head repeatedly, and he decides to, seek vengeance. And so, anyway, I'm seeing that you in the past, you were very trusting. I really feel like there's something deep connected to family here, pile number 2. Again, and it could be, for some of you, if you are married and you have kids, this is also about the topic of how do you not pass down generational trauma to the next generation, right, to your kids. Because the 6 of Cups here, this is about kids, right? It's about childhood. So I feel like, especially in this context, this is about you growing up being innocent, full of light, having had a lot of trust, and maybe having had that betrayed severely by people that you trusted, you know. So again, I could be totally off, I could be on a limb, but again, this is a general reading. This is what I'm picking up. Either way, okay, let's say that this is not you at all. Page of Cups and the Six of Cups, this is an energy that very much focuses on, oh my god, we have the number 11 here again. Number 11 on the Page of Cups. Anyway, so this is an energy, right, that shows you were, first of all, wise beyond your years from the beginning, pretty much, of your life. And it shows that you were very sensitive pretty much your entire life up until this point, and probably even right now. And you are also just someone who's flowing with creativity, a kind of innocence and a kind of natural, strong intuition. You see things that other people don't see. You perceive connections that other people don't perceive, right? So this is pretty much like, this is the vibe that I'm getting. This is your general trajectory up until this point. Then we have the Seven of Wands and the Knight of Cups. You know, as soon as I saw the card of Can You Hear Me, I was actually thinking about this. Holy shit. But then I looked at the other cards and they were more down to earth. And so I stuck with that. Now, again, since this is a general reading, it could be the original interpretation, or it could be this one, or it could be both of them at the same time. But what I was going to say here, with repeated messages of High Priestess, intuition, whatever, and especially with this Knight of Cups here, Spirit is giving you a strong message here of trust your intuition. This could actually be Spirit telling you, can you hear me? I feel like this is Spirit telling you that you need to learn to trust your gut feeling, your perception. Because maybe you're someone who sees things. I'm not talking about psychic necessarily. Now, for some of you, maybe you are psychic, who knows? But I think you're the kind of person that sees connections that other people don't see, right? Or you pick up subtle things that other people don't notice. And maybe because of your upbringing, right? Because of environment, you have just systematically learned to ignore that and maybe dismissed it. And so Spirit is telling you, you need to really trust your intuition. Knight of Cups is 100% a message of trust your intuition. Not only that, but it's telling you that intuition is the way forward in life. Trusting your gut, basically. And again, we have the Seven of Wands. Oh my god, I just realized Seven of Wands came through twice as well. So Seven of Wands, again, is about defensiveness. Like, Spirit is telling you, don't fight it. Oh my god, like, stop being resistant to your intuition, to your true nature. Just accept the fact that this is part of who you are, part of your path in life, to develop your sixth sense, if you will. I'm going to get some clarification just to make sure. Please clarify the Seven of Wands. The Wheel, okay? Please clarify the Wheel. The Wheel of Fortune, obviously. Ace of Cups, so that's more heart chakra, yes. There's an opening that's going to happen. So, like, you're opening up your emotions slowly but surely. See how there's a very clear progression here from Pentacles to Cups and finally High Priestess. So this is like Spirit telling you that this month is about you opening up maybe your heart chakra, right? So going from this very pragmatic, down-to-earth approach to a much more intuitive, feeling-oriented energy, right? And again, for some of you, this could be like lifelong patterns of you systematically ignoring your feelings, ignoring your intuition. Like I said, for some of you, again, it could be if you are still carrying a lot of unconscious, you know, maybe you still have blind spots when it comes to childhood traumas and stuff like that. This could be a very important month to have breakthroughs in your healing, basically. And it could also coincide with, once you heal, you being able to open up to understand and to accept that intuitive part of you and your emotions as well. But for some of you, this could just be a temporary thing. Like maybe you're someone who you know that you're intuitive, right? But it's just in recent history, you got really caught up in pragmatic pursuits and you have sort of ignored your gut feelings. And Spirit is telling you, you need to get back in touch with that. Please clarify the Knight of Cups. Wheel of Fortune, 10 of Wands. Okay. So 10 of Wands is an energy of kind of, in a way, I think with you in this context, makes a lot of sense. So it's a reiteration of that message that your tendency is to not ask for help and to want to do everything yourself, and you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But for some of you, like I said in the beginning, this is just going to be the way it has to be for now, right? Because maybe you don't have a lot of support, especially if you are someone who is in a toxic family system or you're breaking away from a toxic family. Chances are that, you know, it might be hard to get a lot of support in the beginning. But Spirit is telling you that you do have the capacity to take care of yourself, right? And also with the Knight of Cups here, clarified by the 10 of Wands, there's again this very strong message that things don't have to be as difficult if you follow your creativity, your intuition, your gut feeling. And that these intuitive sides are going to carry you through potential problems, blockages, and yeah, any challenging situation you might be going through. And here we have the outcome of the month of May. So we have the High Priestess. Now, the outcome could be by the end of the month of May, or it could be something that develops further down the line, but it's as a result of what happens in the month of May. So the breakthroughs you go through and the emotional work that you're putting through, that you're going to go through. It could be that you're going to develop this very, very heightened self-awareness with that High Priestess, you know, that heightened self-awareness, and not just the fact that you're going to develop it, because many of you, I'm sure you already know you're sensitive. But the High Priestess is about someone who is in command. And because they reach a high level, someone who reaches a high level of self-awareness, and because of that, they are not frightened by their emotions. They know how to navigate their emotions, right? So this is kind of like the High Priestess, in a way, could be what people call a dark empath, but it's not really a dark empath. It's basically an empath that is self-aware, right? So someone who can decide, yes, I am empathic, but now I'm dealing with a narcissist, so there's no point in me delving into my empathy right now, because there's no point in wasting my empathy on this kind of a person. So that's a dark empath, really, when you think about it, or a self-aware empath. Someone who can just take a step out of themselves, look at themselves from a detached perspective, and understand that they can command their emotions to a large extent, or they can choose whether to give in to an emotion fully, or whether they can, you know, they maybe will ignore it this time, or they will allow their emotions to flow, but they know that they don't have to make decisions based on emotions, right? So instead, they can choose to navigate emotions. They can use emotions, like people harness the power of waves, right, in their own interest, instead of being carried away by emotions, especially negative ones. And the star sort of reinforces that, especially since the star, see, this is a double message that for some of you, again, especially if you have maybe social media following, this could also be a message of getting more recognition, irrespective of whether you have social media or not. The star is also about recognition. So you might be getting more recognition especially due to your intuitive powers, right? So this could be directly or indirectly. I don't know, maybe you work in a very scientific field, but because of your greater self-awareness, you will come up with strong insights and strong ideas that people at work appreciate you for instance. Or again, if you're a content creator, maybe you're focusing on spirituality, this could show you are going to have greater reach by the end of this month. Something along those lines, but you're definitely going to get more recognition. Okay, let me get the Astro cards. Spirit, tell me about pile number 2. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? Ooh, Mars. Sextile, chance and opportunity, Taurus, the sensual, Uranus, and Aries. Oh, this makes a lot of sense because I did say in the beginning that number 2 and 8 sounds like Scorpio, maybe Taurus. Yeah, here we have it. We didn't exactly get Scorpio, but we did get Mars, which is the ruler, one of the 2 rulers of Scorpio, according to Vedic astrology. The other one is the south node of the moon. And we have Taurus, the sensual. And we have some Aquarius energy with Uranus here. So, in sextile, chance, and opportunity. So basically, there are a lot of confirmations here. Mars is definitely telling you that, hello, cougar, assertive. And we have Aries and Mars, both of which are connected to assertion, right? So it says, in silence, you find your power, claim your leadership role, and take action. You know where to go and what to do. You have the courage and confidence to succeed. So I also think there's another added message here, which was coming through, but maybe I didn't just tell it like it was, which is saying get over analysis paralysis, right? So a little less conversation, a little more action, that kind of thing. So Spirit is telling you, for some of you, I'm not encouraging impulsivity here, but I really think for some of you, because you have this very strong intuitive understanding and feeling of things and that gut feeling thing, many of you, you're spending too much time second guessing yourself. Like, maybe you're someone who has a strong urge to, I don't know, apply for a certain job, and you're thinking, I don't know if this works, or like, I don't know if I'm going to fit in here. But if you get a very strong feeling like, oh no, I should do this right now, it could be that gut feeling, that intuitive feeling guiding you towards something that's going to be good for you. Okay. So this is something that I'm getting in the sense that I think many of you here, even though there's another kind of connected idea that maybe some of you feel underprepared. And I think Spirit is telling you here that you're more prepared than you think, right? Because you have that intuitive gut feeling in your corner. You might be able to actually be better in a leadership position than someone who has studied a lot and maybe they know a lot of theory, but they don't have good instincts, whereas you would have a natural sort of instinct for things, especially with this Mars Scorpio feeling. I think many of you are people, and especially with that Wheel of Fortune, by the way, because you have this Wheel of Fortune that came through with the Ace of Cups underneath, clarifying the Seven of Wands in action. Wheel of Fortune is about navigating change. So I think Spirit is telling you that you're someone who is naturally good at landing on your feet, all right? That's why you also have the cat over there, the cougar. So you're someone who can handle crisis situations because you become creative in those scenarios, whereas other people might shut down or they might become paralyzed, right? But especially for you, if you really learn to trust your gut and to cultivate that relationship with your intuition, with trusting your own judgment and what you perceive, keeping a journal would be a good idea. Just to give an example of what I mean by this, because maybe for some people it sounds very woo-woo. I'm actually someone who, in recent history, as you might imagine, because I'm doing tarot readings, but I really grew up in a very not intuitive environment. My mother was a math degree who was a math degree graduate she's retired now, but that was when she was professionally active, who was a self-taught programmer, worked for the same company for 30 years, survived God knows how many waves of, layoffs. And she was the first one in her family to graduate from college. And my father has 2 college degrees, one of them in the military academy and the other one in as a civilian, which was physics, and he was basically top of his class in physics. So my parents are extremely left-brained, but I was someone who was born with a lot of intuition from a very young age, and I was very sensitive, and I was always drawn to these things that my parents, for instance, and everyone around me consistently ridiculed. Things like astrology, like intuition, and even though over the years, I've gotten more and more confident, but there was a long part of my life where I was constantly second guessing, where I was like, did I really see that? Or is this real? It must be in my head, Because again, if everyone in your environment is telling you that this is bullshit, there's no such thing, you're seeing things that are not there, you're making connections that are not there, then you learn to kind of gaslight yourself repeatedly. And in recent history, I've become even more intuitive. And just to give an example, like I have developed this thing where I will walk around in a park and I will touch trees. And I've actually noticed this by complete accident. As trees were blossoming, there were some of them were not in bloom yet, you know, some of them right out of winter, right? They were blooming, and some of them were still dormant. And I had watched this video about how touching trees is a calming thing for the nervous system. And just out of sheer coincidence, I noticed that when I was touching the trees that were in bloom, I was feeling something in my chest, you know, my chest and my head. And when I was touching the trees that were dormant, that were not blossoming yet, I didn't feel anything, you know? So it was almost like the fact that something was flowing through them and that it was, you know, that they're opening up, right? They're conductive, how do you call them? Vessels, right? Kind of like what we have, blood vessels. I don't know what the term is technically in English, but yeah, their veins basically are opening up, right? To create the blossom, right? To sprout leaves and whatever, to grow leaves, right? And I was feeling the fact that some of them are dormant just by touching them. That and I kept doing it, you know, for weeks. Like I was walking in the same area, and I'm starting to write down things, you know, like today I felt this when I touched this tree, and today it felt weird. Today I noticed something extra. And doing this kind of thing, these kinds of exercises, you know, can help you cultivate your trust in your own judgment. And of course, it also helps if you look at it from a conventional perspective, because I also do that, right? You know, I'll do things like, did I actually, is this feeling that I'm getting maybe coming from me, coming from my body or something, you know? And then I look for potential explanations. And I've looked at all potential explanations, and there's still something there that is a little bit woo-woo, right? In the sense that, why did I feel so different when I touched a tree that was, you know, in bloom versus one that wasn't? But anyway, I've digressed a little bit. But just to give an example, right? So this is what I mean by trusting your intuition, because some people could have a lot of these same capacities and observations, but they constantly dismiss them or gaslight themselves, right? And the more you get into this, the more you start to see that there are patterns happening all around, you know, under people's noses. This is also why I love astrology, that people don't notice, right? But their lives are being run basically by invisible forces that they don't even notice. But anyway, I've totally digressed. I'm sorry if I have hijacked the reading. But this is pretty much what I am trying to say here with respect to cultivating intuition. And then the Taurus energy is also about taking time to enjoy yourself, right? Because it's about taking a break, right? It's about enjoying the little pleasures of life, having a nice meal, listening to some music, relaxing, right? And then we have Aquarius, which again is about staying true to your vision and trusting your intuition. And it's not a coincidence that we have a lot of fixed energy, because on the traditional Wheel of Fortune card, I always say this when I get it, you see the 4 fixed signs being depicted on the Wheel of Fortune. And this is because for the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, change is the most difficult thing, right? So change is most difficult for these signs. They don't like change. And this is why I think for you, this is also a question of change. So you have to change, but it's going to be a slow, painful process for you, pretty much. And then sextile is showing that opportunities are going to come forth, basically. But with the sextile, it's very important for you. And I think that ties into this whole developing trust in your judgment and your intuition thing. It's very important with the sextile that you are ready to take action to make the most of an opportunity, because it's not going to fall on your lap. You have to be alert. You have to spot it, right? So yes, and this is why you also have to be assertive with that Mars energy. Okay. This is what I see. Let me get the Astro dice. Spirit, please tell me about pile number 2. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring for them? Ooh, spinning. Okay, we have the number 7. So this is ruled by Ketu. This is about solitude, I would say. Virgo. And we have Saturn. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense with the Knight of Pentacles, with all the Earth energy. And we have a lot of Virgo. So maybe you have Virgo placements as well. Doesn't have to be. But Virgo, Saturn, and number 7. Now, the number 7, I would mostly connect it to Ketu, considering the rest of your spread, which connects to solitude. The number 7 is kind of like the isolated genius sort of energy in numerology, right? So it's this energy of being true to your vision, true to your judgment, even when other people don't understand you, when you don't get support. So again, that would also tie into those original messages about why maybe you feel like it's difficult for you to connect to people. I've said this with number 1 as well, and I'm going to say it again because I think there is a similar theme here. It could be that some of you are neurodivergent. That could be a thing, okay? But with the 7, with the Virgo and the Saturn, the advice here is, first of all, keep it steady, like I said. So consistent effort. Saturn is about planning. It's about working with limitations instead of against your limitations. Don't force things, right? Take things day by day, step by step, plan. Don't expect overnight massive changes or windfalls because it's going to take work. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, it's going to take a lot of work. And Saturn wants you to be thorough. Don't leave anything to chance. Plan your time, make the most of your resources, all right? And the number 7, this is about, again, kind of getting comfortable in your solitude. Just like this card said, it's ironic in a way that number 7 in numerology is connected to solitude, but the number 7 in astrology can connect to the 7th house, which is the house of partnership and marriage, right? So it also, like, I'm going to remind you of what this card says. When you fully bless and embrace your aloneness, you're ready for the ones who are meant to be with you. May I welcome this solitude, knowing it will open the way for all healthy relationships. So I really think that one of the major themes that is happening for you in the month of May is the theme of self-healing, especially considering this background of potential family drama, of emotions, right? Getting back in touch with your emotions, trusting your judgment and your intuition. So it's about healing and it's about focusing on yourself, which doesn't mean that you have to isolate if you have the opportunity to socialize, to go out, but you also have to be mindful of who you spend time with, right? So don't be around people who, for instance, don't want you to heal, basically. This would make sense for someone who's surrounded by narcissists, because narcissists do not want people to become self-aware because they can't control them that way. But anyway, not to digress. This is pretty much what I have for you, pile number 2. Again, I feel like there were some very strong messages that came through. Please let me know what you think in the comment section, how this resonated, if it was totally off, etc. Maybe things that you would have liked me to do different. Any suggestions, as long as you are polite, in the comment section will be taken into account. And aside from that, if you would like to support my channel further, you can do so by becoming a member. You can click on the join button to see the membership options and prices in your local currency. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and click on the notifications bell if you want to see when I post a new reading. If you would like to support my channel further, again, you can also leave a tip through the tips button under any of my video. Any amount would be much appreciated. You can also share the video with other people who are interested in tarot. And if you're interested in a private consultation, I do private consultations, tarot readings, meaning on pretty much any kind of subject. And you can find more details about that if you email me. I don't have a website so far, so you can just drop me an email at the email address that I left in the video description. I do mention this all the time because I've gotten questions about it. I do not spam people, so you don't have to be nervous that if you send me an email, I'm gonna, I don't know, save it and send you newsletters or commercials or anything like that. So you can just message me. I will send you the information you asked for, and that's it, unless you would like to go further with a reading. And aside from that, I have an astrology channel which has just turned 10 years old. It's called Martine. I will be linking it in the video description as well. I focus mainly on Vedic astrology because that's what I have found to be the most accurate system of astrology so far, and I have been into it for more than 10 years. I've also been into tropical astrology for more than 10 before that, and all along the way I've also dabbled in multiple systems like Batsa, Ziwei Doshu, which are Chinese astrology systems, and numerology, and a whole bunch of stuff, which I also use directly or indirectly in my astrology video. So I use a lot of the insights I have gathered from all kinds of systems along the way. But I also like to do primarily readings from the Vedic perspective, which means that I use the sidereal zodiac and the whole sign house system. And I also like to have a very practical approach in the sense that I back up a lot of my opinions and my observations with examples of people's horoscopes, famous people's horoscopes especially, because those are easy to verify. And yeah, you can find more information if you check my astrology channel. So if you're interested in astrology, go ahead and check it out. Maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you in my next tarot reading. Bye! Welcome, pile number 3. This is your reading if you have chosen this card over here, 21 Tiny Triumphs, and or this moonstone crystal. I really like the shine on this. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Anyway, this is going to be the selection phase, so I'm going to add timestamps so you can skip directly to the interpretation if you don't want to sit through the selection. So let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the Moonstone Crystal. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? All right. So we have 9 of Swords, the Chariot, 4 of Cups, King of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, the Hanged Man. Let's see. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, came out twice. Queen of Cups, a lot of Queen. Devil, okay. Ooh, the Hangman underneath the Hangman. Something is going on, pile number 3. I'm gonna unpack things as I go along. Let me get some oracle cards now. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3, the people who chose the Moonstone Crystal. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? Tell me. Please tell me, Spirit. Ooh, Kindred Spirits. You know what I was thinking about? Oh my God. Oh my God. This card definitely came through when I did my last reading on how does the person on your mind feel about you. So check out that reading. Like if you also feel drawn to the same one, but don't cheat, okay? Because this card came out with one of those in that reading, one of those piles, but I don't remember if it was the same. If it's the same card, holy shit. I mean, pile 3, something is going on. You have to check out that reading. But like I said, don't cheat. So if you want to check out that other reading, I would recommend that you would select with the opposite of whatever selection method you use for this one. So if you selected this pile based on cards, go select that one based on the crystal, or vice versa. All right. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What will the month of May 2026 bring for them? Ooh. Orca Whale Adventure. Dare to do things differently. Sing your wild song. Manifest your travel dreams. Attempt the great journey with confidence. Be loyal. Friends and family are your treasures. Be brave. You are more powerful than you know. All right. Let's get another one. Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring for them? Compassion. As you pray each day for a greater compassion, a new self is born, drawing new people and experiences. Dear Lord, help me feel ever-deepening self-acceptance. May I see myself as you see me. Okay, someone has to deal with self-love here. Pile number 3. Let me read the description for this card here. Tiny Triumphs, number 21. Interesting, you have number 21, which boils down to a number 3, and you happen to be the number 3 pile. Let's see, 21. Attitude, belief, power of perseverance. A big mouse dressed as a circus trainer is holding a small eagle. The situation is inverted. The predator is small and the prey is big. This card urges us to believe in ourselves. Repeated theme. Don't ever think you're too small or too outmatched in a situation. Inner size is what matters. Think back to a time when you felt good about an achievement. Don't give up now. With patience and hard work, you will triumph in the end. Ooh, very strong message repeated here. You have multiple messages here, pile number 3. But I think it's such a strong message, repeated theme here, because you also have compassion. This is about accepting yourself, all right? And it says, Dear Lord, help me feel ever-deepening self-acceptance. May I see myself as you see me. And here it says, dare to do things differently. Sing your wild song. Manifest your travel dreams. Attempt the great journey with confidence. I really feel like many of you have confidence issues, pile number 3. Friends and family are your treasures. Be brave. You are more powerful than you know. Hello. More powerful than you know. It has a repeated theme with this card, with Tiny Triumphs. So, like, you're the little mouse that can tame the ego. Eagle, not ego. Maybe ego was a Freudian slip. Anyway, maybe you can tame your ego as well, because you have Queen of Wands here and you have the Nine of Swords. But let me get into it. You also have the Hangman coming out twice in the outcome, one underneath the other. And again, you have the number 12 here, which boils down to a number 3 in numerology, which is ruled by Jupiter, just like 21. So, and you also have the Six of Swords coming out twice. Is there anything else that came out twice? Don't think so. Yeah, but already very strong messages. So let me break this down. We have Nine of Swords, Queen of Wands. So this is your current state around the time when you are coming across this reading. And you are in a very anxious state, pile number 3. A lot of anxiety, and the Queen of Wands underneath tells me that there are 2 main potential reasons for this anxiety. Number 1, you want too much too fast. Okay, Queen of Wands is Leo energy. So it's about, I want everything by yesterday, right? Right here, right now, just like that song by Fatboy Slim. And then you have the other thing, which is a shadow side. And when you think about it, actually, this can also be about a shadow side. I mean, yes, I know it said that this is about the tiny mouse that conquers that eagle, but that eagle can also be a metaphor for having a shadow side. So a part of you that is trying to sabotage the other part of you. And this is causing your anxiety, whether you realize it or not. Queen of Wands actually does sometimes speak of being a little bit unconscious, in the sense of not knowing that there's a part of you that is sabotaging, not realizing that you're being self-sabotaging. And yeah, that's basically having a shadow side. That's pretty much what it is. A big one that is somehow trying to really ruin things for you. So my recommendation as a pause here would be to absolutely keep a journal. Keep a journal, do a little bit of soul searching, even consciously, right? So maybe even keep a dream journal. That could help a lot. Write down, what did you dream every morning before you forget it, as much as you remember, and look for repeating patterns. Try to understand what your subconscious is really dealing with. what is actually the thing that you're fearing, for instance, because usually these shadow sides are parts of you that are trying to keep you safe. So, for instance, if you're someone who maybe in the past you've had a very critical, let's say, parent, or whoever the primary caregiver was, maybe you had a lot of criticisms in general, right? Not just from the parents, could be a teacher, could be from school, could be bullying or whatever. So maybe there was a part of you that got used to not wanting more, not wanting, for instance, to stand out from the crowd because you feared that that would attract criticism, that that would attract hatred. So what happens is that even as an adult, where now you might have opportunities where you can step forward and actually it would actually bring good things for you, right? Maybe more recognition, more finances, for instance, right? Because the more responsibilities you take, the more money you will make generally in society, right? So even in your current state, right? Because you have had, let's say, some very negative programming along the way, it could be that there's a big part of you that is trying to hold you back. Even if consciously you say to yourself, sure, I want to have a leadership position, right? Or yes, I want to have this job. But maybe there's a huge part of you that is terrified of having that job because maybe it's totally outside of anything you've ever tried, right? And without realizing it, if you have deeply rooted beliefs like, oh, I could never make it in that job, right? Or it's too much for me, or I will have a mental breakdown, or it could be something like, if I take this job, I'm going to die alone or something because it's way too, what's the word? Demanding, and I won't have time for dating. So you need to kind of do a little bit of soul searching, even consciously, but also maybe write things down. So write, again, through journaling, through getting to know yourself, right? Writing things down helps a lot to understand, to untangle your subconscious fears, your thoughts, and all of this stuff, right? So this is the first thing that I can say. Then we have the Chariot, we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is the support. So this is what's going to support you throughout the month of May so that you can learn whatever it is you need to learn. And these are very positive cards, which tells me that you have a lot going for you, okay? Chariot is about decisive action. So you need to take action in the direction that you want to get to. Queen of Pentacles, again, is also about being mature, being level-headed. Queen of Pentacles is Taurus energy. Taurus, all of the other earth signs, right? So Virgo, Capricorn, but this is a very mature earth energy, right? So someone who knows how to make the most of the resources around her. And I say her because it's queen, of course. Gender is not relevant here. But this is a mature entity, someone who has been through a lot of things, has dealt with a lot of different experiences, and they know how to be resourceful. So resourcefulness and the capacity to take action, to take initiative, even with the Chariot, and also to overcome your fears, because the Chariot is basically, on the one hand, depending on how you look at it, it could be about riding victoriously out of battle, but it could also be riding confidently into battle. So it's a very kind of warlike sort of energy. And because it's connected to the number 7, there is this energy of isolation, of you needing to go at it alone if necessary, even without anyone else there to cheer you on and to support you. So this is the kind of energy you have to embody to make the most of the month of May, which tells me that there are going to be quite a bit of opportunities coming forward for you. If not in the month of May, whatever is happening in the month of May is setting you up for a lot of positive things coming into your life. 4 of Cups with the 6 of Swords. So I want to get, please clarify 4 of Cups. I already kind of know what this is about, especially with the Fool. Please clarify the 6 of Swords. Oh, we have 2 cards, 7 of Cups and the Hermit. Oh. So. Oh my God. I'm seeing some very clear messages for you, pile number 3. Please clarify the Fool. I want to get more details. Knight of Wands. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. So, what's getting in your way, pile number 3? This is what the third position is about. So we have 4 of Cups, all right, clarified by the Fool. Well, initially, the 4 of Cups was clarified by the 6 of Swords, so let me unpack that. Too much time thinking. 4 of Cups is about being lost in thought on the one hand. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is being too picky, potentially. Or it could be not being picky enough. Now, I realize that this maybe sounds too much, like too vague, too general, but you have to take into account that this is a general reading. So for some people, and you know yourself, you should know yourself, right? If not, do the journaling. But see, for some people, depending on what your background is, depending on, you know, other experiences you've had, you should be able to know which one of these 3 categories you fall into. So let me give an example. If the 4 of Cups is about not being picky enough, this could be that, especially since we have the 7 of Cups here, clarifying the 6 of Swords. This could be, for instance, the situation where, because you're having a lot of opportunities now, maybe you're the kind of person that, again, for a long period of your life, you haven't had much luck. Maybe you were very unhappy. Maybe you felt like you were in the wrong lane in life. And recently, you have found yourself in a better position. So you're having things coming your way that you really like to grab and make the most of. But the problem is that if you don't practice discrimination, and you know, let's say you're someone who, I can think of this, for example, when it comes to actors, right? Because actors, for instance, and this is based on stuff that I remember reading from interviews with various famous actors, right? They could go through long, dry spells where they won't find a decent job for 5 years straight or more than that. And then all of a sudden they'll have a better role and opportunities start to flow in. And they'll have, you know, the opportunity to do 10 different movies within the same month or something. I don't know. I'm throwing ideas out there. I don't know if that's possible, but something along those lines. So a person who does not really want to miss out on anything, they could say yes to everything, and then they'll burn themselves down to the ground because they'll physically won't be able to do everything at the same time. So this could be one potential interpretation for some of you, right? You could be someone who has a very hard time focusing on just one thing because you have so many things coming towards you, so many bright, shiny things that are attracting your attention, and you're thinking, oh, I've always wanted to try this, and I've always wanted to try that, and now you have the opportunity to do all these things at once, and it's hard for you to prioritize. But Spirit is telling you that you need to look at this. The devil. You need to avoid temptation. You need to be clear. You need to keep your eyes on the prize with respect to where it is that you really want to get to in life, in general. So that's one potential interpretation. And let's say if it's too much, it could be and or again. So it could be both the fact that you have a hard time saying no. You could be too discriminating on the other hand, right? Maybe you have a lot of opportunities coming towards you, but you're sitting there with your hands crossed, just like the 4 of Cups in the Rider-Waite deck looks like, a guy with his hands crossed sitting against a tree, kind of looking not interested, you know? So you could be someone who's getting a lot of opportunities, but you're like, nah, I don't want to do this. This is not exactly what I had in mind. So you could be too picky. Let me give an example. Maybe you're someone who are fresh out of university and you want to get a job in the field, but you don't want to settle for something that doesn't look like exactly what you want or the exact salary that you want, while ignoring the fact that if you don't create enough experience, you may never get the opportunity to get the position that you want, right? You have to start with baby steps and get whatever experiences you can, even if they don't look like the ideal position you want to have for the rest of your life. Another example, again, could be in parallel with these for all of you, could be analysis paralysis, too much thinking. You could be thinking too much, but not taking action on your thoughts. So Spirit is telling you that you are, the Spirit is definitely telling me repeatedly that you are getting opportunities, or you're bound to get opportunities. I'm guessing for most of you are already seeing this, right? If not, it's going to start happening in the month of May. But it's up to you to make the right decisions with respect to how you use these, if you end up making the most of them at all. Okay? Then we have King of Pentacles, Queen of Cups. So I have to say, I really think for most of you, you're someone who's pretty mature, irrespective of your age. I really think a lot of people here are people who are probably past the age of 30. I'm getting a vibe because we have King of Pentacles, we have Queen of Cups. This is mature energy. But irrespective of your age, even if let's say you're younger, in your early 20s or something, this is very mature energy. This is someone who has been, up until this point, right? You have developed a certain dependability. You have developed an emotional maturity that maybe, again, especially if you're a young person, is way beyond your years. Because, again, maybe you were the kind of person who had to mature quickly because you grew up in a complex family situation. So you had to understand people. You had to be, maybe worst case scenario, a parentified child, right? Who had to emotionally babysit your parents. I could be reading too much into it, but things, I'm just giving examples, right? Could be things along those lines where you are feeling very mature. And you're also, I think for a lot of you, you're someone who has achieved something up until this point in the material sense. So again, see how this resonates. I'm very curious. I want to hear the comments, right? I want to read the comments, but I'm getting a sense of someone who has already achieved something worthwhile that most people in society would say that counts for something. So maybe you're someone who has already worked a few years in a certain profession, or maybe you're someone who has started a business or multiple businesses, even if they weren't like super successful, but there's something there, right? Something you have to show for yourself on your resume. This is the vibe that I'm getting. And at the same time, you have, up until this point, learned to be dependable, to be pragmatic, and to also be emotionally mature, emotionally intelligent, I think, as well. To understand how people function, their psychology. And I'm guessing a lot of you have also been, or have gotten through your past experiences, pretty good at managing resources, maybe managing people even, but managing resources in general. So you're someone who can balance the emotional side with the rational side pretty quickly, pretty easily. So you can be both pragmatic and intuitive / emotional. This is pretty much what I'm getting here. I also think, as a side note, that people, for most of you, people tend to see you as a dependable, serious person. Could be not, okay, but for some of you. And then we have Six of Swords and the Devil. So this is the action. Let me clarify. Please clarify the Devil. Oh, wow. Please clarify the Six of Swords. Ace of Wands. And we have Kindred Spirits here. This is, first and foremost, okay, this is like such a multi-layered message, such a multi-layered reading in general. But just looking at this column, it's a multi-layered thing. Because so far, really, except for this card that says Kindred Spirits, there isn't much of a message about romance here. But then it shows up pretty strongly. This isn't actually about romance. Let me correct this. This is about lust. Ace of Wands and the Devil. And then we have 10 of Cups underneath the Devil. All right? So I'm just gonna read exactly what I think. All right. So the first thing that came to my mind is that lustfulness could become a distraction for you in the month of May. Now, I'm not, obviously this is me reading the card, so it's not my position to judge anything. I'm not judging. That's what I was gonna say. I'm actually seeing for most of you that the motivation here is 10 of Cups. So there's a noble motivation here. You're someone who wants a family. You're someone who wants a strong emotional connection. And because of that strong emotional, that desire to connect with someone deeply and to have a serious relationship, you could be led astray because you might confuse lust for love, or you might confuse lust for a genuine romantic connection. All right? This is one thing that I'm seeing. Now, since you have the kindred spirits thing, however, for some of you, the lucky ones, this could actually be that you're going to find someone, you're going to meet someone significant who might actually become a serious long-term partner. But, well, not but, okay? Without the but. And, let's stick to the and. And this person, the way that you will recognize them is that you do find them very attractive. So this is going to be someone who's going to be very physically attractive to the point where you might be distracted by their attractiveness. Okay. And then the Six of Swords, again, is definitely a positive, irrespective, no matter how you want to read the other explanations. The Six of Swords in general. So even for people that, let's say, you're not interested in romance at all. This is not about romance for you. You don't care. And maybe you won't meet someone in the month of May. Okay. Kindred spirits can also be about people who are significant for your development. So maybe you're going to come across a guru, a mentor, a coworker, a manager, a priest, a teacher, an author that attracts you in the month of May that somehow will be important for your ultimate destiny in this lifetime, will somehow lead you to your fulfillment. But because we have the Devil and the 10 of Cups here, I really think for some of you, this is about meeting someone, all right? But even if, like I was saying, so even if this is nothing connected to romance, the Six of Swords, at the very least, clarified by the Devil, shows that you are gonna be slowly but surely moving away into a better situation in life, right? Moving into a better situation in life because of that Six of Swords. That's progress. But the Devil is kind of trying to pull you back. Kind of think of it this way. Especially since the rest of the reading, this is about destiny. This is about making the most of opportunities. I really think for many of you, if not most of you on this pile, this is a clear warning about do not allow yourself to be distracted. Do not allow, and also that Devil, I did say that this is about lustfulness, but this is not just lust, okay? And it's also kind of reinforced by the Ace of Wands in your case. So lust could be a strong component, but the Devil is anything that's a distraction. The Devil is about deception. According to the Bible, to the Christian Bible anyway. I don't know about the Hebrew Bible, but in the Christian Bible, right? Satan tricked Eve. That was the story. He is a deceiver. And I say he because that was the convention. Everybody was a he because women didn't matter in the Bible, unless they were scapegoated for eating the apple. But let me not digress into feminist discussions. But I'm exaggerating. I'm not trying to say it's all misogynistic, just about 95%. Anyway, but the point is that the Devil here, this is about temptation. This is about stuff leading you away from your quote-unquote righteous path. I'm using a lot of biblical terms today. So all of this, all right, coupled with the fact, and this is important, coupled with the fact that you will already have confidence issues, self-doubt, and those things also are a representation of the Devil, figuratively and literally, in the sense that these are things that if you don't address them, if you don't do that shadow work or whatever you want to call it, right? That self-reflection, that journaling, that going within to understand where are these self-sabotaging habits coming from and nipping them in the bud. If you don't do the work, those things keep growing. The shadow side keeps growing. And it will hold you back, if not even completely manage to sabotage you and your success. So it's extremely important for you, pile number 3. I feel like this pile has very, very clear, decisive, almost like very strong warning messages, unlike the other 2 piles. So like, this is something you really need to hear right now. Because it feels like for you, more than the other piles, you're at some kind of crossroads in life with that 6 of Swords. It's like you have a chance to finally get to what you want to get to. And Spirit is telling you, don't mess this up. Be careful. Because you're at risk somehow. So don't let that, the voices in your head, whether they're coming there from you or coming from other people who planted them there along the way through criticisms and God knows what. Don't let the voices in your head win. The voices that are telling you can't do something or that it's too scary to do something. If that thing in question, of course, is what you genuinely truly want. So this is what I'm telling you. Knowledge, self-awareness. These are key things for you to practice in the month of May. Maybe therapy, of course, if you can afford it and if you are inclined to it. So yeah, this is pretty much the main thing that I can say about here. This is the future, basically, the near future. So this could be by the end of May, and it could turn into a long-term theme, of you fighting with self-sabotaging impulses. And then the Hanged Man, which came out twice. This is scary, honest to God. Let me clarify. Please clarify the Hanged Man. Oh my gosh, Queen of Pentacles. We have the Queen of Pentacles twice. Please clarify the first Hanged Man, Spirit. Oh my God. Oh my God. Shit. Pile number 3. Okay, so for some of you, this is definitely, you're going to have the hots for someone, all right? Maybe for some of you, you already have the hots for someone. But the thing is, I'm not getting any strong messages, any clear messages, undisputable messages. First and foremost, let me put it like this, right? Not to be negative. And stick to the basics. Irrespective of who you meet or how you feel about them, if this person is truly someone who is your kindred spirit, they will not try to sabotage you. They will not be okay with you missing the boat with respect to achieving what you want to achieve. So the point here, again, remember that the devil is a deceiver. So just because you have the hots for someone, number one, that doesn't mean that this person is going to be your forever, ever after, whatever. That's the kind of thing that you need to figure out through a long period of time, right? Spending time with them, getting to know them, etc., etc. Not becoming intimate and crazy and full of lust from the beginning. Aside from that, if this person, like I said, so if they're truly a kindred spirit, they're not going to be someone who pressures you. So they're not going to be the kind of person who tells you, give up this opportunity, I don't know, to take this job or to take this scholarship because I want you here so that we can have an affair. That is not going to be a kindred spirit. That's the snake, okay? That is the biblical snake from the fucking Bible. Sorry about being all over the place. But this is the vibe that I'm getting here. Like, Spirit is telling you, be careful not to be carried away by lust. However, and also with the Hangman coming out twice, look at how beautifully it's illustrated here. So the outcome of the month of May, first of all, is the Hangman clarified by the Hangman. So you're going to be in limbo. Unless, and here's the thing, and I mentioned this is a very important part, unless you do the work, unless you do all the soul searching and clarify your mind, clear your head and all that stuff, you're going to be in limbo with respect to what it is that you really want to do. It's you know, the song that I'm getting in my head is that song of Should I Stay or Should I Go? Oh my God, for some of you, this could literally be about travel. Holy shit. Because look at this, we have adventure, and it says manifest your travel dreams, and then we have the Six of Swords twice. So this could be about actually moving away. This could, and it could be like an important move. Like I said, maybe getting a scholarship or getting a job in a different city. So in which case, this could be nothing about romance at all. The Lovers here could just be about pursuing your heart's desire. So the Lovers can also be heart chakra, what it is you love. It connects to Venus, which can connect, for instance, in astrology to passion, right? Passion projects, hobbies, what it is you love to do, basically, right? In which case, the Devil just shows anything that distracts you from taking this opportunity. So if this is purely career-oriented, the Lovers is about you choosing to do what you love, and the Queen of Pentacles is about choosing to stick with what you know, choosing to stick with the predictable path that maybe you're not that particularly passionate about. Either way, it really, like I said, it really feels like you're going to be at a crossroads around this time. So it could be even by the end of the month of May. I'm very curious, so please let me know in the comment section. But this is pretty much what I'm seeing, pile number 3. It's really intense. Let me get the Astro cards, okay? Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is coming towards them in the month of May? North Node, 12th house, Pluto. And the 5th house, bingo. So, very strong. So here we have Sun and the 5th house. This is heart chakra. All right? And it's also about authenticity, and it's also about confidence. The Sun is about confidence more than any other planet. I really think many of you, and again, I'm going off on a limb here, but when the Sun is damaged in the horoscope, this could show a toxic relationship or an unhealthy, damaged relationship with the father figure. So if you are in that situation, maybe, again, this could refer to the relationship with your father. You could have had a father who really tried to put you down, who was overly critical, who maybe was abusive, maybe was absent, maybe was neglectful. One way or another, this poor relationship with the father figure could have damaged your self-esteem, your self-confidence especially. And somehow this is really something you need to focus on consciously working on. So you have to focus on consciously mending this basically in the month of May by any means necessary. Therapy, like I said, journaling, self-awareness. Now, the North Node of the Moon, it says, look at this, new life goal. And the North Node of the Moon, hello, kindred spirits, is about fulfilling your destiny. It's part of what a destiny shows. It's part of what the destiny of a person is according to astrology, but it's a big part. So the North Node of the Moon shows things that you have to develop in this lifetime, things that you are constantly drawn to, either compulsively or you're constantly being shoved into by life to develop those qualities, those characteristics. So the North Node showing up here with the Sun, which, by the way, in Vedic astrology is seen as the original Atmakaraka. So for everyone, irrespective of what their personal Atmakaraka is, which again is another configuration that shows what the destiny of a person is, the Sun, to some extent, the Sun placement shows the destiny a little bit for everyone, irrespective of what the personal Atmakaraka is. Because depending on the horoscope, it could be either one of the 7 planets, the 7 major planets, which are Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. But for everyone, the Sun, to a basic extent, shows the Atmakaraka. So it shows part of why your soul chose to incarnate in this path, in this life, and what you have to fulfill, and what you're constantly chasing. So this is definitely showing me that this month is going to be crucial for you. Pile number 3, you have to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You need to be alert. You need to be conscious. You need to make the most of everything. So don't That's another thing with the devil. Speaking of being alert, the devil can also show escapism. Trying to bury your head in the sand, you know, whenever you're faced with something uncomfortable, let's say turning to substances, turning to alcohol or something. So these are things that are heavily discouraged. Pile number 3. 12th house, again, this is also about being able to go within. So it's also about the subconscious. And the 12th house is also bedroom activities, so I have to laugh about it because I really think for many of you, it's like lustfulness is going to be a problem. And 5th house, by the way, again, it's not just about self-love, it's also the house of romance. And see, the fact that I got the 5th house as opposed to the 7th house here or the 9th house, this shows me, again, a repeated theme that whatever you're going to go through in terms of romantic interest in the month of May, I have to say, for most of you, is probably not going to lead to something serious. Because the 5th house is about, okay, dating. It's about fun and games, okay? And then you have the devil, you have the Ace of Wands. This could be really just turned into a distraction for most of you, I would say. Unless you're in that small percentage, like I said, that you are where you are meant to meet the right person right now who's going to turn into a serious relationship. But even in that situation, the way to tell that they are serious, that they are meant to be in your life, is that they will respect your path. They will respect the fact that you want to take advantage of certain opportunities that are important to you, that maybe you've worked for very hard. Yeah, so there will be someone who wants you to be happy, basically. And then the 12th house, again, can also, and the 5th house, can speak of travel for fun. So you might be able to travel, and it could be either you might travel for fun, or again, could also be travel for education, because 5th house is education as well. College degree up until master's, and that's pretty much it. According to most astrologers, it doesn't cover up to master's degree. So it doesn't cover master's degree level education. That's 9th house. So it's up until master's. But 5th house can definitely connect to education. Maybe an educational program, maybe a travel, especially for a particular course or something, or a conference or whatever. So that could be happening in the month of May. And then Pluto, oh my gosh, look at that, shadow and mysticism. So there's the devil energy again, trying to lead you astray. Also, another, I was actually thinking about this when I was saying it. I was actually thinking of Saturn when I was talking about devil and deception. But Rahu in astrology is connected to deception 100%, more than Saturn, more than any other planet. And not only that, but Rahu, according to Vedic astrology, is connected to what the Indians called Maya, the world of illusion, the world of material illusion. So things that are shiny and bright and distract you from what's really meaningful. So you really need to be careful, pile number 3, because I think that you are at risk of being led astray. I have to say this, all right? And also 12th house can be bedroom activities, can be hidden things, hidden affairs, and can also be, again, escapism through drugs, through imagination, right? All kinds of things. In the positive sense, this is about creativity. It's about cultivating, especially with the 5th and the 12th house. This is about an opportunity to cultivate creativity. And then you have the repeated theme of play here. Where does it say? Dare to do things differently, sing your wild song, manifest your travel dreams. Oh, I thought it was something about play, but no, I think there was another one. Either way, there is a message of you needing to be authentic. So that goes back to the 5th house and that sun energy. Anyway, Spirit, tell me about pile number 3. What is the month of May 2026 going to bring for them? Okay, so we have the sun again. Check this out. We have number 4, which can also be about stability. And we have Sagittarius, so there's more fire energy. There's definitely some theme of travel here with this pile. So many repeated messages about travel. Maybe for some of you, again, if it's not actually that you're going to travel in the month of May, maybe Spirit is telling you that you might have the opportunity, you might get the opportunity right now to travel. So, I don't know, watch out for special offers. Or maybe something, again, if you're let's say in university, this could be about an opportunity to travel for a study program. So watch out for opportunities that might show up, basically. And the number 4 is about stability. And it's also about the home base, right? Because it can connect to the 4th house, which is the home base in astrology. Either way, it connects to stability. So I think that Spirit is telling you that this is a time to stay grounded, to keep your feet on the ground, and to not lose sight of what it is that you want to achieve in life. Because this is a theme that is coming through repeatedly. All right, this is pretty much what I have. Pile number 3, very lengthy reading, but I really think that many of you are going to get valuable insights from this. I hope so anyway, because this seemed very, very specific. So please let me know in the comment section, because I'm very curious to hear your feedback, of course, as long as you keep it polite. And aside from that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. It's the easiest way to support me, and it is free. Also, consider clicking the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new video. If you would like to support my channel further, you can check out the join button so you can see my membership options and, you know, the currency, the prices in your local currency. Aside from that, you can also support my channel further by sharing this with people that you know are interested in tarot, or you can leave a little tip through the tip button under any of my videos. Any amount is much appreciated. Aside from that, of course, if you're interested in getting a private tarot reading, check out the video description. I will leave my email address there. Since I don't have a website yet, you can email me. So I do all the dealings about my readings and everything through my email and PayPal. So if you're interested in finding out more information about reading options, details, anything about reading, you can email me. I always mention this. You don't have to worry that I'm gonna memorize your email or send spam emails. I don't do that. So if you're curious, just drop me an email and I will give you the information you asked for. Aside from that, I also have an astrology channel called Astro-Martine, and I'm going to be linking it in the video description as well. If not, you can look for it. It actually just turned 10 years old last month in April. So I have been posting videos primarily on Vedic astrology. That is my primary thing on my astrology channel. It's the primary type of astrology that I stick to. I have been into it for more than 10 years now, actually probably close to 13 or 14 years. And I have stuck to this because I found it to be the most accurate. However, I also have a lot of experience with tropical astrology, which I have been into for over 10 years prior to that, prior to discovering Vedic. And along the way, I've also learned a lot about other astrological systems like Batsa, Ziwei Doshu in Chinese systems, or the Mayan zodiac, or numerology, which I use a lot even in tarot readings. So yeah, I like to use a lot of my insights in esoteric stuff in my videos, but I also like to take a pragmatic approach, and I use a lot of examples of famous people's horoscopes because they are easy to check when I discuss configurations or when I discuss relationship analyses on my astrology channel. So if you're curious about astrology, go ahead and check it out. Maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you at my next tarot reading.